Does the slide number 2 need to change, Hugo? Since the content is now a bit different. I think the table of contents is
We're,
still the old one.
we're live there now anyway, guys. So
Yeah.
it's too late to change any slides now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still about the how the product will map, so it's okay. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm just trying to check. I'm not sure. Probably should give a couple of more minutes since it's like just 1 minute past the start time. So maybe 5 minutes past 4 UTC, we'll start the event. So thanks for those that are already here, and we'll start soon.
Cool. And I put the deck for today is in the chat as well. If anyone doesn't see it, just ping on the chat and I'll put the link back in. But I think it should be there for everybody.
So probably just to share for those that joined, we are just giving a bit of more time for more people to join. So in about 2 minutes, we'll start the Netdata Office Hours. So just a couple more minutes and we'll get started. So I think it's time to start. So for those that are in, thanks for joining us. Before we jump straight to the deck and to the content, just a brief note that we are trying out, as you see, a different format. We are trying out the stream to be live from our YouTube channel. So the main interaction with us through this is through the chat. But if at some point in this episode or in future ones you need to to jump in and want to speak on the stream, we can send an invite link to the stream, so you're able to also join us and speak, not just through the chat. But yeah, for now the main interactions is through the chat. But there's, just for you guys to know, that there's this option to allow you to be invited to the stream. So without further ado, today's office hours, we are going to cover mainly topics around the product and the options we have, and speak a bit also about on-prem, but much more. So let's jump into the slides and see. So in terms of introduction, this was it. So in terms of spotlights, we'll also speak, which I'm presenting it, the Netdata Assistant. So it's going to be our premiere of the soon to be released Netdata Assistant, and you'll see a bit more into what this is. And then with Costa, we are going to speak about how we are shaping the product. We mean, of course, NetData Agent and NetData Cloud. So you're going to get into a more deep dive how things are evolving and what is going to be able to do on each of these kind of products. So to get ready to get into all of these details with Costa guiding us through that. In the end, we'll have an open slot for questions, and I think that's going to be mostly it. We are not presenting any community questions because I think the two topics today will give us enough room for the session. So, without further ado, I'll move to the next slide. So it's about Netdata Assistant, and Shem can present us here.
Thanks, Hugo. So this is, as Hugo mentioned, the premiere of Netdata Assistant, which is our new troubleshooting assistant feature that we've built into Netdata. And what this is built to solve is, very often during the troubleshooting journey that you have, you arrive at this question of what do I do next? It might be when you see something odd happening in a chart. You might notice a particular metric behaving anomalously, or you might see that you have a bunch of alerts that are popping up. And then, what do I do with this is the question that arrives.
Anna.
And what usually happens is that you end up having to Google for that particular thing if you are not already an expert on it. And Google throws up a bunch of links, and then you read through them and you go through this whole process of trying to understand what to do. Sometimes you need to go back on the system and then run commands, look at the output. So that's usually the workflow. So what we're trying to do here with Netdata Assistant is to help optimize that workflow. So try and provide as much context as we can within the app itself that will help the troubleshooting journey. And our goal for Netdata Assistant is to be able to do this across all areas of the app. And what we're going to show you right now, which is the feature that will be out pretty soon, is the first phase or the first step in this. And this is in terms of just the alerts. If you have an alert, how can we provide context in terms of helping you understand what the alert is, what is it talking about, what is that metric, and why does it matter? And also next steps in terms of troubleshooting. What should you do? Is there any command that you need to run on the server itself? And we also realize that there will be cases where you need to actually understand deeper, and we're going to try and provide you with hyperlinks to useful resources directly. So we're going to help cut out some of that googling work that you need to do and provide you with relevant urls that can take you either to the documentation or sometimes to really useful articles which are available which talk about the subject. So this is available for every single alert that's on Netdata. And we have the feature under beta flag right now. So if anybody's really interested in trying it out, you can reach out to us on Discord, and we can help give you an early preview. But maybe I can show a quick demo right now so you understand how the feature is and how it works. I'm gonna try and share my screen. Yeah, I hope everybody can see my screen. So this is the Netdata demo space, which all of you have access to. And there are a bunch of alerts active here. So if I go to the alerts tab, in the actions column, you can see a brand new icon here. So this is the icon for Netdata Assistant. And what happens is, for example, I see load average 15, right? So what does this mean? What do you need to do about it? So if you click on the assistant, it's going to pop up this window here. You can expand the window. So it gives you the context about what this alert is, right? How is this alert getting triggered? How is the calculation happening behind the scenes? And it also explains what load average means. What does overloaded mean? It gives you kind of an example to walk through. And it also gives you steps to troubleshoot the alert. So how do you figure out if your problem is related to CPU load or IO load? How do you, what are the commands that you need to go and run on your system? And then finally, it gives you a bunch of useful resources, right? So Linux load averages, understanding Linux CPU load. So the idea is that you get all of this information in app, that you don't need to go out and kind of break your troubleshooting journey to do this. And the assistant also helpfully kind of hangs around. So if you go to another tab within the same space, the assistant is still there, and you can minimize it if you want, because you might want to go to overview, go to a particular chart like the load chart, look at stuff here, and then go back to the commands which the assistant was giving you. So that's the idea here. Within a particular room, the assistant will kind of be sticky. But if you go out to a different room, or if you go to a different space, then the assistant is just going to go away. And you have this drop down here which shows all the active alerts at this moment. So if you want to look at something else like disk utilization, which is also active right now, then this is what you'll see, right? So it's customized troubleshooting guidance for every single alert. And if you also want to understand more about any of the alerts that we have that are not active right now, you can go to the alert configurations tab, and you can see the assistant icon here as well. So if there's some other alert there which was active in the past but is not active right now, and you want to go back and see what you can do about it, you can just click here, and it opens up as usual. So this is the feature. And like I mentioned earlier, this is really the first step. We eventually want to bring it into other places as well. For example, if you're looking at a chart and you don't understand what you see, or if you want more context about, is what I'm seeing usual on this box, is this anomaly something that I should really be worried about, we can provide, or we can surface more information using the assistant. But that's for the future. This is what we'll be releasing soon. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Would be great to hear some feedback. Thanks.
Thank you, Shem. Really looking forward for the release of this feature and to get it to the hands of our users. So, and as Shem said, if you want to get early beta access to this, just let us know, and we'll for sure allow you all to tell you how to enable this and to try it out. So we have a space for questions if you want to ask anything specifically about this, but it's probably at the end. So probably we can go to the other topic of today. So to speak about the products. So Costa, probably passing now the mic to you.
Yes, guys. Hi. So we're going to discuss a bit about the Netdata products and what we currently have, and how we plan to change them in the near future. So you all know that we have the Netdata agent. It's the open source component that we have. This is how Netdata was born. Netdata, the agent, is actually powers everything about Netdata. So this is not unlike other solutions that they have, something that is open source and something that is closed source and all this kind of stuff. We use the agent, even in Netdata Cloud, we use it as a key building block. So the agent gets a lot of love from us. So we try to improve it all the time, make it more stable, more faster, more capable. So currently, the agent is able to do all this stuff: collects metrics, store metrics, checks metrics for health, alerts, etc., detects anomalies. It has a query interface that you can query the data. It can score the data. This is also something unique for Netdata. So we can wait. What happened? Where did it go? I lost everything. Who got left? Shall I share my screen?
Uh,
Who got disconnected?
Yeah.
Yes, let me share.
I can share. I
share.
can
Yes,
share.
please share.
Let me. One second.
Okay, here we are. Thank you, Adi. So it can score, I was telling that it can score metrics, and actually this is something unique, because what we want from the data is actually to be able to appoint, to help us find the needle in the haystack. So we don't just query metrics to give us charts, values, or alerts, etc. We can also ask the data to run an algorithm to score them, to correlate them, to analyze different behaviors that they have, and sort the metrics in a way so that the top, we are going to have the most important or the most relevant one. So this is scoring. It can visualize. It has a dashboard. This is what we're going to discuss in a while. It can stream metrics to other Netdata agents, so you can build building blocks of parents, metric centralization points with different retentions and the likes. It can, sorry guys, Dimitri. Sorry guys. So it can stream metrics so that you can create centralization points, but also it can export to other time series databases. It can run notifications for alerts. And even if you, for the few of you that probably have noticed, you can hook your custom scripts to alert notifications so that you can automate stuff. So when an alert triggers, you can actually do something about it, react to it in an automated way. So Netdata is real-time, low latency, high resolution, and has high cardinality. This is the difference, guys, of Netdata with everything else. We're trying to be, even the database that we have has a bit. So if we miss a bit, you have a gap in the charts. This is very important because at the end, Netdata is a real-time data processing pipeline, let's say. This is what it does. It tries to achieve this goal in the most efficient way and actually with a very tight bit. Of course, we have added thousands of integrations to it, and these are all the integrations, the data collections integrations we have. And one important thing that it's my favorite is that we are trying to simplify monitoring by changing the way monitoring behaves. So for most monitoring solutions, you have to go through the process of creating dashboards, setting up alerts and all this kind of stuff. With Netdata, we try to change that, and I think we have accomplished that in a great degree. It is a fact that in Netdata, you can just install it and boom, you use it immediately. Of course, some things need to be configured, like third-party integrations, etc., somewhere that we need to collect metrics. But for the majority of the system metrics and application metrics, this works out of the box. Now, on the Netdata Cloud uses Netdata agents. So Netdata Cloud is not open source. It's a closed source program. And what we do there is that we provide these additional features to Netdata agents. So we provide, when you have agents, let's assume that you have installed 10, 20, 100, 1,000 of them, doesn't matter. You have a dashboard on each agent. Even if you have parents, or if you have centralization points within your network, still the agent dashboard shows one node at a time. It's like slicing, like partitioning the database. The Data Cloud, on the other hand, shows infrastructure level dashboards. So every chart comes from all your infrastructure, whatever you have. It has these rooms and the likes that you can organize your infrastructure. So whatever you have in these rooms. These infrastructure level dashboards are also all the work that we have done. You know that we have released recently a lot of features. We changed the UI again, the Netdata Cloud UI, and I will present this in a moment to you. Then what it has on top of this is custom dashboards. So it allows you to create custom dashboards, store them, save them, and retrieve them. I know we need a lot of work on that, and to tell you the truth, I believe that we will, not this release, but probably the next or a couple releases later, we will be able to provide amazing custom dashboards functionality. The whole point, guys, with custom dashboards, we see the world a little bit differently than the others. For all the others, a dashboard is something that you think carefully, you create once, and you use it many times. And if you need to change it, you have to think again very much, because you have to do it right. For us, a dashboard is something you should be able to play with. So you should be able to drag a few charts, create a custom dashboard on the fly, save it if you want for later use. But the whole point is to allow people to correlate the information ad hoc, even during crisis, mid-crisis, to take decisions. I think this flexibility is the most important thing that we can provide, and not just because Grafana, for example, is an amazing tool for custom dashboards. I don't think we can make it better as a custom dashboard editor. But other than that, I think the flexibility that we need out of a monitoring solution, Grafana is not suitable for this, mainly because it is hard to go through the process of editing and changing the dashboards. You need skills, you need understanding of the metrics, you need to know what you are doing. It's not easy for someone. So I think that we're going to tackle this goal of custom dashboards later. Then Netdata Cloud provides role-based access so that you can invite your teams, your colleagues, your team and your colleagues, and segment the infrastructure the way you see fit, give rights to them, permissions, etc., and start monitoring a large infrastructure, let's say, all of you together. One important thing is the virtually unlimited horizontal scalability. So if you have a data parent, and a data parent can scale, I don't know, to 500, 1,000 nodes, in a few cases even more. And we improve the scalability of the agent all the time. If you check, for example, the last few weeks or even months, the PRs that happen on Netdata, I personally do really a lot of performance optimizations. So the vertical scalability, so vertical is how much an agent can grow, how many metrics, how many nodes it can ingest, it can store, it can serve, it can run ML on. This is called a vertical scalability. But when you reach that point that, there is no that big machine actually to host my infrastructure, then you need to scale horizontally, to scale out. And Netdata Cloud solves this problem. So if you can have the biggest parents, many of them, and still Netdata Cloud can correlate everything together into one unified interface. And actually, we solve this in an amazing way. We're going to see it in a while. Netdata Cloud also takes care of central dispatch alert notifications. So it dispatches, the agent dispatches notifications, the parents dispatch notifications, but also the cloud dispatch notifications. Now, I know that we have a mess there, probably because we allow people to have enabled notification dispatches from everywhere. So we need to tackle a bit this problem. I think we will do very soon. And then you have on the cloud, you have unified auditing logs. So you can see topology changes, nodes coming up or down. You can see all the alert transitions there, user actions, some user actions, not all. So the idea is that the cloud is a building block on top of Netdata agents. It requires Netdata agents. It does not replace them. The data are not streamed to Netdata Cloud. The data remain forever inside Netdata agents. When you view a chart on Netdata Cloud, what actually happens is that Netdata Cloud sends a command to the agent to tell it, hey, give me that chart from that time to that time. The agent sent this back to Netdata Cloud. Netdata Cloud aggregates all this from all the agents, aggregates the data, and presents the chart to you. So this is how it works. So the Netdata Cloud does not store your data. It stores only a few metadata, how many nodes you have, what context, what plugins you use, this kind of stuff, but not your data. Let's move to the next slide. So this is a mess mainly because we have two dashboards. There is the agent dashboard. As you see here, it's about one disk, is NVMe 0N1, this one disk, the top chart. And below, we have the same chart on the cloud. The same chart on the cloud, as you see, is a little bit different. What is different? They look similar, but there are a few very important differences. Go to the next slide, Adi. So the first thing is that we implemented this NIDL framework. This NIDL framework existed inside Netdata for a long time, actually from the beginning, but it was never revealed. We would never see it. And actually, what the chart above does is that it queries just one of the 17 disks that you see below. So on the chart below, you can actually see that this chart is coming from 10 nodes, from 17 disks. These disks are the instances where we collect stuff. It has 2 dimensions and 12 labels. Now, it has a few more stuff, like the anomaly on the right. So you can see immediately that there is an anomaly somewhere in there, out of these 17 disks. You see that there are some partial data below. So some of your disks, some of these disks failed to be collected during that time. They were disconnected, or a node was down, or something. And also, it allows you to group the way you want. Now, this is grouped by dimension, so it's the 2 dimensions, reads and writes, but it allows you to group them any way you see fit. And actually, you can group by multiple things. Now, the interesting thing is that all these are interactive. Adi, go to the next. They are interactive. So what interactive means is that actually you can press these little needle buttons there, and you can actually take control, understand, see a detail of what is inside. What is inside the chart. All this data, all these tables that you see all over the place are different views of the chart you have below. Now, the thing, I think that there are slides interactive. Press it again, Adi. Yes. So what you can see is that there are, you can see immediately the contribution of every item into the chart. The contribution, the volume column says, this is a chart. It has some volume. Which nodes are responsible for the volume? You can see, for example, that Ubuntu 2204 XPS 9500, the first node on the top left, is 54% of the whole volume. More than half of the chart comes from that thing. Similarly, you can see that one disk of that node is about 30%, and you can see that its writes, that is 89% of the writes are there, and etc. Even you can see that 72 of the volume of the chart comes from physical disks, and the other 27, 28 comes from virtual disks. So why is this? This is to give you a sense of what you are looking at. Without this, the chart, what the data are represented in the chart is just statistics. You don't know. Even if you go to Prometheus and Grafana and the likes, or any other monitoring solution, you query, you come up to a chart like this, but what does it have inside it? You don't know. You have to do other queries to figure out. Now, the first thing is understanding. And also, press it again, Adi, we have the anomaly rate. So you see, for example, that it had an anomaly at some point. You can see immediately where this anomaly is coming from. So it is from writes, it is mostly from a virtual disk, and it comes from these nodes and that disk, etc. Of course, this is not a full drill down. We have planned an expanded view on the chart. So where the chart is expanded below to actually Yes, guys, these are laptops and desktops of mine. You're right. So the idea is that we planned an expanded view where you can actually have tools to say, for example, give me the one that has the most anomaly, any of these dimensions that has the most anomaly in that time frame. So highlight the time frame, press a button, and sort the table by anomaly rate, for example, and find the most anomalous dimension. Now, this chart is 17 disks, 2 dimensions, it's 34 time series have been aggregated here. Which one is the most anomalous? This is the question that we try to answer with the expanded view. The expanded view will come later. Now, press it again, Adi. And now you also have the ability to slice and dice. Now, all the drop downs, you can use these boxes there to actually select what is interesting for you to represent, to get the chart only with those. This way, you can, all this can be combined. So you can select, for example, both a few disks and a few labels or a few nodes. They are combined together. And at the same time, on top of this filtering, you can slice, you can dice, you can pivot the data. So you have this group by menu on the left that you can go there and say, you know what, I'm not interested to see this as reads and writes. What I'm interested to see is about, I don't know, physical and virtual disks. This is what I want. Or I want to see it by device label, which device it is, or which node it is, or combine all of these two. So the idea is that all this is to give you control. And go to the next slide, Adi. So why are all these are important? The first thing is it allows us to understand the data. Without this information, we can only speculate or assume what data are in the chart. And you know, this is the most common problem of all monitoring solutions, even the best ones. How to represent the data so that people can really grasp, understand what is included in them. I think that with Netdata, we nailed it. We did it. So what is the data I see on this chart? Where are they coming from? Is everything I expect included in the chart? All these questions, which components have the most contribution, which components have the most anomalous, etc. All these questions are answered as we are today with the current functionality. And the most important thing is that now you have the ability to play with it. So playing with the data, pivoting the data, slicing and dicing the data, filtering the data is now something that anyone can do, because it's just dropping down and opening a drop-down menu and clicking, making a few ticks. It's nothing. Netdata makes sure that the result is consistent, that the result is what you should have at the end. Now, this, for me, this is very important, guys, and the last sentence is that the thing that summarizes the way I think. As we make monitoring simpler, the infrastructure monitoring, the stability and reliability and the performance of our infrastructure becomes better. So although we are just a small startup that is trying to do something and simplify the lives of sysadmins and DevOps, I think that we are dealing with something much bigger here. And this is what it is at stake, that we want people to actually find it easy to monitor and maintain reliable servers and systems and applications. Now, let's go to the next slide. And what we changed, because this is an announcement of a change. Up to now, it was what we have. This is what we have. So today, if you have this setup, this is what it looks, the thing you have. So at the top left, okay, it says Kubernetes. If you don't have Kubernetes, it doesn't matter. You have a bunch of production systems. It doesn't matter what they are. probably, if you have used Netdata for some time and you know about it, you have a few parents, mainly to offload your production systems or increase the retention of the data, or even in Kubernetes, you have to have them because all the nodes there are ephemeral. So you need some parents to run your monitoring. So you have some production systems, and in the middle, you see the parents. This is not readable. Inside the DMZ, the two boxes are parents, parent 1 and parent 2. So the old dashboard, the old agent dashboard, provides all the blue icons below. So if you have 10 agents, you have 10 dashboards that you have to go and visit one by one, server by server. And in the case these are clusters or are these whatever, then you are doomed because the dashboard does not help. You see part of your cluster or your infrastructure at a time. If you use cloud, of course, you connect the parents. You don't need to connect everything to the cloud. You connect the parents to the cloud, and then boom, you have multi-level infrastructure level dashboards through cloud. As I said, the cloud doesn't store data. It asks for every chart that you want to see as you scroll the dashboard or you move from chart to chart. From everything you do there, a request goes to the agents, the query is run, data are coming back, aggregated by the cloud, by multiple agents, if they come from multiple agents, and they reach your web browser. Now let's go to the next. What we want to achieve is this. So this is the change that we are making. Now, this diagram is not very different from the previous one. Go again back one, Adi. So the little dashboards on the lower left, they vanished. And you have now two green dashboards, multi-node dashboards. They are the same. They are the same software. This is why the icon is the same. They are the same software. And if you have just this setup, like it is now, or both of them show you exactly the same thing, so no difference. You have the same dashboard, the same nodes, the same charts, the same everything. But you have the ability to view this dashboard directly from the agent. You see here there is a direct access to the data agent APIs. So if you go to the next slide, now this works without the cloud. It can work without the cloud. So the agent, what we did, guys, is the last 3 months we're unifying all the APIs of Netdata Cloud and the Netdata agent. This was tough. It was a huge process to actually go through each and every API call and response and make both of them be the same. And at the same time, achieve the goal of allowing the cloud to aggregate multiple such responses. So they respond the same, but at the same time, two agent responses can be aggregated reliably by the cloud to one such response again. So we did all that work. Currently, we are finishing the alerts, the unification of the alerts, but for the data and the dashboards and the likes, all this work has already been done. This means now that the dashboard can hit the agent to actually get cloud responses. It gets exactly the same charts as it expects it from the cloud with all the information that need to be there in order all this amazing visualization that we show that we saw a little bit before is available, including the drop downs, the anomaly rates, everything. Now let's go to the next slide. This becomes more interesting if you have a setup like this. So a multi-cloud or a hybrid cloud. So you have two sites, site A and site B. Now, below there are three dashboards. The two on the edges are directly with the parents, not through cloud. So these dashboards are like rooms, let's say. You go to a parent and actually you get an isolated view of whatever data this parent has. So when you go to from the left to the right, site A only. So if you hit the parents of site A, you have full dashboards, multi-node, all the functionality there of site A. If you go to site B on the other side, you have only site B. But when you connect everything to the cloud, now the cloud can provide a dashboard that has all the infrastructure, site A and site B, on the same dashboard. Okay? This is used to actually overcome. But we will see it next. I think I have a couple of slides. So let's move to the next. Now, if this runs at the agent, what do we need the cloud? What is the cloud for? So if we give, we're going to give. This is already planned for the next release of the agent to have this dashboard. And actually, on the night release, it was planned for yesterday, but we found a bug and we rolled it back. On the night release, you are going to have, HTTP localhost 199999, and then /v2, and boom, v2 dashboard. If you don't put the v2, you are going to have the existing one, the current one. And on the next release, we're going to switch it. We're going to make default the v2. Now, if this runs at the agent, why do we need the cloud? We need the cloud for the following. The first is customization. So the agent does not have any idea of what a custom dashboard is, where to save it. It doesn't have any settings about the chart. So personalization and customization is not there. So just with the agent APIs, you are going to get the dashboard, but it will be the default. You need to sign into cloud in order to get all your customizations. Otherwise, you get the default. Access to your dashboard from anywhere. You understand that? Go back to the previous slide, Adi. So in this setup, the two dashboards on the left and the right can only be accessed if you have direct access, IP access to the parents. If you don't have direct access to the parents, these are unreachable. But the middle dashboard works through cloud. So it's like a VPN. It's like your servers now communicate through cloud to your browser to actually expose all the information. So one important thing that the cloud provides is the ability to access your dashboards and your network and your infrastructure from anywhere. Let's go to the next. Scale beyond a single parent. We discussed this. Parents, vertical scalability. We try to push it. It goes amazingly well. We're very scalable. We have here a test where we have millions of metrics on a single agent, all collected per second. Millions of metrics, and it's pretty good. 5, 6 cores, 7 cores, something like this, something like that it uses, and 32 gigabytes of RAM. But it's very fast, very responsive. So amazing vertical scalability, the agent. But if you hit that limit that you cannot scale a parent more, then the cloud. Put a lot of parents there. Isolate and segment your infrastructure into islands or different cloud providers or different services or whatever it is. And the Data Cloud will take care of everything. It will unify everything transparently without anything done from you. We have the central management of alert notifications, so you can disable all your notifications everywhere and have the cloud dispatch the notifications for you. I understand that if your infrastructure is small, then you can do this from a parent. So disable everything, all alerts from the children, from the data agents, and have just one parent to dispatch the notifications. We are coming to that, the next slide. And then you also have role-based access. So if you are not alone and you have a few people there, then you need some more permissions and some more rights and some segmentation of the infrastructure. So the Data Cloud can provide all this. Let's go to the next slide, and I think it's the final one. And these are what are coming to Netdata Cloud, because, guys, to be straight, we are doing this we're VC funded. We need to make money at the end of the day. We need to please the community, in order for us to attract revenue and make a business out of it, so that we can go to the next series, and so on and so on and so on, in order for the company to grow. This is how we find the money to be here. Some guys took the risk. So we want Netdata Cloud to be amazingly good, and we want, because we also want the agent to be free and open source. So since we want the cloud to be amazingly good and suitable for all of us, what we want to do is add central configuration to it. So via the Netdata Cloud, you will be able to configure your systems, data collections, or create and manage alerts via the UI. No configurations, no Netdata agent restarts. Just say, I want this, push the configuration there, boom, starts collecting. We are baking this already. Secure your agents. One of commonly asked requests is how do we secure the agents? And we have documentation that says, okay, put an Nginx in front of Netdata and use username and password and all this kind of stuff. Now with the cloud, we're planning to release a feature where you say, hey, I want all my agents protected. What protected means, it doesn't mean no access to anyone. It means that the agent will allow only users to access it directly, directly on its IP and port. Will allow users only that have been authenticated by cloud, no one else. So you will fetch the dashboard, the static file, but in order to hit the API, any API, actually you have to take a token from the cloud. This is simple. This is very simple how it will be done. Nothing will be provided by the cloud. So what will happen is that the cloud will send a request back to the agent through the connection that they have, and it will say to it, please give me a token. I have someone at the door. But this will be an authenticated service. So the only service that the cloud will provide is a security to allow only people in your space to actually take that token. So then we have a mobile app. This will be also released pretty soon. And the whole point with the mobile app is that it will work for all Netdata Cloud notifications, iOS and Android, notification-based, mainly to be in control of what's happening as far as alerts are concerned on your network. And then the last one is WebRTC communication. So we know a lot of users are complaining about the data exposure to the cloud. I said that there is no exposure, actually data are passing through, but still people are concerned, and in many cases this prevents people from using cloud. So what we plan to do there to solve this problem, one is this step that we do now. We bring the dashboard of the cloud to the agents. But the next step, the best step, is actually to replace the communication between the agent and the browser with WebRTC. WebRTC is the technology that we use now. It's the technology behind conference calls, video calls, and the likes. And this finds automatically the best path for peer-to-peer communication. So if you're on a local LAN, you talk directly, one peer to the other, your browser to the agent. But if you are somewhere else, then there are all the intermediates and the technology required in order to establish a secure connection between your browser and the agent. So no one can intercept that thing. That's the key thing here. So with WebRTC, I believe that we will be able to solve the problem of data leakage, let's say, data exposure. Now, this is the new dashboard is about to be released. We are baking it, as I said. It's going to be in a night list in the next few days, or even probably today too. I will follow up later. We are at the same time, we are designing, because a lot of big actually companies and surprisingly big companies ask for Netdata Cloud on-prem. We are preparing an on-prem version of the cloud, so people will be able to run the entire cloud, all Kubernetes and all this microservice that we have there and all the infrastructure, to run it on-prem. We are working to accomplish that. And for the smaller companies that they don't afford to have this operational, let's say, overhead, to have such a big setup just for a few nodes, this is the step. The step is put a couple of parents there. The parents scale amazingly well. Take the dashboard that does all the magic. And if you need customization and the likes, just have a Netdata Cloud account. In the simplest form, and this is what we want to check how it will work. If you don't want to claim your agents to the cloud, to connect your agents to Netdata Cloud, you can connect just your browser. So you can still fetch data from the agents. The agents do not know anything about the cloud, but your browser connects to the cloud to actually get the settings, store dashboards, and the likes. We're not going to store any of your data. It's just a definition. What's the dashboard? It's which chart it is, how you filter it, how you want it presented, etc. So this is the dashboard definition, not the data. And all the customization. So if you change, for example, the default view of a chart or whatever, we're going to connect to the cloud to actually bring it like you want it and not having to do it every time that you view the dashboard. So these are, guys, the changes. I think that I am excited about this. I think that this will change significantly how people understand Netdata, mainly because the old dashboard is extremely, it was amazing when we built it, but it's not anymore. And I think we are tired of it, to tell you the truth. So I think that the moment that people will see and experience this amazing dashboard served by the agents themselves in full glory, I think they will change how they feel about monitoring in general. Because this is, both the agent has a huge capacity of query capacity and storage capacity. I think we have done a very good job there, but also the dashboard is pretty unique to actually simplify our lives, make it easier for all of us, and help us maintain a reliable infrastructure. That's it. A lot of talk, just myself. This is.
I have a question.
This is not, guys, to tell you the truth, this is not, the other one was better, that we had some interactivity. Yeah, let's go, Adi, go on.
Well, just while we're waiting for any questions to come in on the chat, it says, you mentioned like data isolation in the WebRTC. What exactly does that mean? I kind of understand like the security stuff, but is it more about like lower network transfer costs?
So WebRTC, like a video call. The video call ensures that there is data between your web browser and another person's web browser. And this data cannot be intercepted. It is a secure communication. Now, there are a few cases that you need an intermediate, like a video call. You have a video call with 30 people. Your browser doesn't receive 30 streams. It would be unrealistic to have 30 streams. So there are some servers somewhere that actually multiplex the whole streams. So they receive the 30 streams, they multiplex, and they give to each of the participants just the view that they want. Similarly, in our case, when you discuss, when a browser goes to one agent, we can have a secure channel between that agent and the web browser. Secure. No one can intercept it. Even if it passes through the internet or whatever, this is a secure channel, encrypted TLS, latest standards, etc., etc. This will work for one agent, one parent, one big parent. What if you need two? If you need two now, someone has to multiplex the data. there has to be somewhere in the middle, someone that will take the two streams from the two agents, aggregate the data, and give the data back to the dashboard. Now, this is a special server. You build a special server for that. There is no ready-made software. What we're going to do is that we're going to build this server and give it to all the people that reach the capacity to actually have multiple agents and want to have this on-prem. Okay? So we are going to have our own such servers across the internet. We're going to have hundreds of them. Ourselves, public, use them. Okay? Just to multiplex data. If you want your own, because your company requires privacy or whatever, then you have to buy the license to take one of these on your prem.
Okay, get it. Yeah, I didn't. That's the bit I wasn't getting. Makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, it's here. It's waiting.
Seems no questions so far coming through.
No questions. So it was so clear. It was either you understood it all or you didn't understand anything. This is what no questions means usually. Either of the two.
Saving this for review later.
Very clear. Okay.
Thanks, Luis. Yeah.
So thank you very much, guys. On the night list, if you follow, there is a PR. It is called Dashboard Reorganization. There is a PR. When this is merged, on the nightly, you are going to have your agents /V2. Boom. Dashboard V2. It will have bugs. We're still baking it. But you can experience it. The goal is at the next release, 15th of July, to release that, to make this the primary dashboard. Okay?
Yeah.
Enjoy the data, guys. Enjoy troubleshooting, and we love trouble.
I was just going to share the PR is on the chat, so if anybody wants to follow it and track it, yeah, it's there.
Okay.
Thanks for all, and see you in the next one.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.